All right, we're going to go ahead and call our December 2nd work session meeting to order. If I could have roll call, please.
Shannon?
Here.
Anthony?
Here.
Lee?
Here.
Edwards? Here. Morris? Here. Day?
All right, great. Just a few items on this agenda for this evening. We'll first start out with the ARB item. We're speaking about the Pardo House at 14881 Washington Street. I'm not
Want
sure.
me to go? Chris, do you want me to start? Okay. It was discussed at the last ARB meeting, bless you, that, that the Pardo House, as everyone can see, even in the dark, decided to paint their roof, their metal roof, neon red, which was not approved nor applied for. Ms. Lockhart has tried to contact the owner to get a remedy to this with no success. So the ARB is asking that the council have her act using our, the funds, the, Emily, blight ordinance, sorry. We've had several complaints about the terrible color on the roof, and so we are hoping that the council will give her a little backing so she can.
Okay. And
go
so
after
the ARB requested to be brought to the council.
Yeah.
So is it just for the roof color? Because the plastic, like all on those sides, was that discussed at all?
Emily,
Okay.
would you like to?
So following our ARB meeting last week, I touched base with the property owner. Due to personal reasons, they had to stop working on the structure for a little bit. She expected they would start end of last week, early this week, weather permitting. So I think we'll see them back out there soon. The plastic on the sides right now is just to cover what they scraped off. That is kind of raw wood, if you would, so it wouldn't get further damaged by the elements until they can get paint on it.
Oh, okay.
So we should,
that was the
we should see some work on it soon on the four sides.
Gotcha. So any discussion when you spoke to her regarding the color?
We had a previous discussion regarding the color. I informed her that you do need to apply for color changes of that nature, especially when it's a historic structure. And she claimed to not know the process and not understand that that was something that needed to be done. Furthermore, she then explained to me the financial burden that it had already caused on them to do so by having one contractor basically take their money and run, and then having to hire another contractor. So that was about the gist of our conversation. I told her that it would come back through ARB as a discussion point, and we would follow up.
Okay. I probably have some thoughts, but if anybody else wants to share those first.
Is this is a house right down the road here on the right?
Next to where the wine tasting room is going in.
Is that the one where the everything's boarded up?
Yes,
Red roof, right? They put the red roof.
red roof, yeah.
I don't know, is that her last name, Pardo?
Correct.
I don't know Ms. Pardo or her situation, but, and this is, I don't mean this to be anything bad, but ignorance of the policy here is not reason or an excuse. My feeling is have we haven't issued a blight letter, have we?
We have not yet.
I would recommend we do it. We give her 7 days or whatever to respond. If she doesn't, then we use our blight funds and we do what we have to do. But I would give her that opportunity in writing to fix the issue, in my opinion.
Okay. Any thoughts?
Same thing, yeah,
Okay.
just we need to send a letter, and first of all, when I was walking on that, how come without knowing that the red roof comes in here? I was, surprising in there. Then later on, next day or so, there are plastic wrapping. And then I was kind of surprised. We
So-
need to send a blight letter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go next. So my thought process, so is red a allowable color with the ARB?
Some shades of red, yes.
Okay, right. So it's not that of course, In other words, could she put in an application and this thing actually be approved?
As it is now, no. I do not believe that that would occur because the red is such a
Loud.
cherry neon color that it would not match our color palette. There are some iterations of the color that would be allowed, and that's paint. It's not like a red roof. It's almost like a glossy paint that the property owner put on there, so.
So it's the sheen and that it
Yes.
wouldn't fit the, and the next thing is,
I don't want to speak for everyone
Sure.
on the ARB, but I'm just saying,
right.
from the information I have.
So do you feel like we're making progress with this, or do you feel like that it, I mean, when you speak to her, I mean, does she feel receptive?
No.
No, okay, all right, all right. We'll continue. Susan or?
Well, I already
Yeah,
said my
yeah.
piece, so.
Has there been any other history with her concerning the town?
Not that I'm aware of, as far as as we know, the houses have been sat for so long that
So-
seeing them painted, or at least attempting to be painted, seemed to be a step in the right direction. The other house that also is,
Allison Corner Shops.
they totally painted everything. I mean, they finished their paint about 2, 3, 4 weeks ago-ish, where they painted the entire place. So to finally see somebody spending the money and fixing their building,
But that one
It's
they
great.
painted as it stood before. This
Yeah.
one, just,
Yeah. I
this
think
was
it's
not.
mother-daughter, different owners per se, but same family.
Yeah, but did
So-
they come through the town? Were there any communications with the town as far as them pursuing the work?
So over the summer, a contractor did come in. We had a lengthy discussion about how you apply for things, what you would need to apply for, and what you don't need to apply for. Also in regards to like going to the building department and pulling those permits down at the county. What I've understood from Ms. Pardo is that this is the contractor that took the money and ran. So I don't know that any of that information was ever relayed to her. She is out of the country and usually pretty hard to connect with. So personal discussion with her, no. But with a contractor who she hired, yes, there was communication about the process.
Because I can see where we can make a directive for this situation, but we need to solve the issue as far as following up. If a contractor comes through the door, we need to reach out to the business or the owners of the properties, following that discussion with the subcontractors or the contractors. So, I want to look further beyond dealing with this issue and see how do we catch it before it happens again, and how can we prevent a lady, like Miss Pardo from losing money, because now it's highly possible she's going to have to redo her roof. So I agree with Steve in reaching out officially with a letter, and then from that communicate with her officially as far as what the steps that should have been taken. And then whenever we have individuals that walk through our doors representing business owners, there has to be a follow-up via letters. There has to be some follow-up going to the business owners or the house owners.
If the contractor comes in, if they're painting like in kind, they still require a permit? Didn't think so. So that's why they didn't pull a permit for the other, because it was like in kind?
Correct.
Of course, we're probably talking about different meanings here. I'm thinking permits, but we're talking about certificate of appropriateness
Yes,
with the
yeah,
ARB.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, because they did do a lot of demo work out of there. There was a roll-off that they gutted almost the entire building, so
So, Mr. Mayor, what process do we have in place to catch someone or to prevent it from happening? Can someone just gut a building like that, especially on the main street, without anyone in the town following up or walking over and talking to them?
well, I think that's where the contractor came in, so,
So now that Prince William County is the building official and the property maintenance code is going to be able to be enforced by them, that's something that would need to be reported to us so we can forward to them if work's going on, substantial work that people believe is work without a permit. So that's where we would go, just directly to Prince William County building official and have them go and inspect it.
But our town is not that big that we cannot walk over to look and demand to see the permit, because the permit has to be posted.
So that's if the work requires a permit.
Right.
Right, so painting a house, what we initially saw, scraping the paint, we thought, great. Putting the plastic up was a little concern, but then, of course, when the red color went up on the roof was,
So for a certificate of appropriateness, and correct me if I'm misspeaking, Emily, but when you come in, so the man came in, the contractor, he spoke to Emily, she gave him our requirements, what would require, what wouldn't. But the only way that he would need the property owner's signature is if they actually put in the COA. You see what I'm saying? They need the landlord's approval or the property owner's approval and signature for that. But if they didn't actually put in an application, then they don't need to notify the property owner that they were here.
To answer your question, Mr. Morris, Chief and I did go down and visit with the property owner when there were several complaints that came in about the color. But typically, whenever we see work being done, I either try to make a note of it's an ongoing application, they've received a COA, or I know they're at the building department getting permits, or I go in and try to talk to them. So we try to keep eyes on the streets. And all
I think that's where I'm getting at, as far as, so if we see it happening, how do we follow up officially until it gets to this stage?
So usually I'll go out and I'll have a conversation with them and then either follow up in an email or a written letter of some form. The other thing that is pretty helpful, Chief and his team, in the rundowns, they'll put if they see something when we're not in town or over the weekends, and so we can follow up, on those leads as well. So that's been a big help as well.
the other set of eyes.
So how long has this roof been painted red?
Was it right before Haymarket Day? It was about early October. And so so they started with a primer. The primer was like a rusty orange color, and I thought that was the original color of the roof based on what I had seen. We kind of thought that's what they were sticking with, and then they continued work on it. That's when it became the cherry red, and then that's when we stopped by and had a discussion with the contractor. Shortly thereafter, Rebecca Pardo called the office. We had several phone call conversations, and then I told her I will be back in touch following the ARB discussions.
So as far as timeliness, are we doing good with the timeliness of our processes?
This one could have moved a little bit quicker if I think the property owner lived in the States. There was a little delay on international kind of discussions there.
I'm just trying to make sure that we're not trying to solve just this issue, but anything else that may
Yeah.
pop up in
So,
the future.
An example on the east end of town, the commercial property down there, anytime I have a problem, I can go visit with the property owner and we have discussions, and within the week, things are being changed. So most of our other cases are very quick and are timely within several weeks' time.
Okay, thanks for that information.
Does she live out of state?
Yes, in a South American country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Her address is, Solomons, Maryland?
Right, so she has
Post box?
she has a PO box up there. So what I've run into in the past is it goes to the PO box, but it'll go unanswered for several months. So I do rely heavily on the tenant that does occupy the back of the Madison Corner Shops building to contact the mother to help us get to the daughter. So this is a hard one for us to contact. It really is.
Do you
I now
believe-
have a phone number though, so.
Do you believe giving him more than 7 days would resolve the issue? Do you think that would make any difference to, I mean, again, you're saying, based upon your conversations with her, it doesn't seem likely that it's going to be resolved
Correct.
without this. But do you think, again, with this, giving her, let's say 14 days or something, do you think it would be resolved?
I think that's the more reasonable thing for the town to do, just because
She's far away.
she is far away, and I know that it can take a little bit to coordinate those things. But I'll certainly touch base with her, let her know the letter's coming, and give her a phone call. If she's in the area, we can maybe talk about a tighter
And I
timeline.
need to clarify the week that I was referring to, because I agree with what Robert is saying. My week was to get a response from her, not the ultimate fix, but a response. A week should be plenty of time for her to get that and get back in touch with you. That's, and then whatever time, you know, whether we give her 30 days to get it fixed or whatever, I mean, it's winter.
Yeah,
You're not
I
going to be
agree.
getting painters out here. So I think we have to be fair in whatever time frame we give her. But to me, the week is plenty of time for her to come back and say, yep, this is my plan, or whatever. So,
And it sounds like if there is a red that is a good fix, to match that up to with her, you know, her understanding that she needs to apply for the COA and that here's the acceptable colors and, you know, it's,
Also needs to be an acceptable paint that's going to stay on the roof.
it's not just any kind of paint you can put on
metal roofs.
on roofs like that. They have certain paints that's
Maybe this was a
made
good,
for that.
another primer for the
Yeah.
a base coat as they put the final coat on, I don't know. Yeah. Looking at it positively,
Yeah. 2 months.
yeah.
Yeah, primer on for 2 months.
Yeah, the nice thing is, at least we are getting some movement of something that's been like this for as long as I can remember.
Not all movement is good movement.
Yeah, it's true.
Just saying.
Well,
So how long the people they have not lived that building?
Since the late 90s.
Wow.
Yeah.
So why she is holding that property?
yeah.
When you talk to her, you let us know, okay?
Okay?
Yes, yeah.
Like, seem like you have some insight over there on the west side.
At least the other property has been fixed, been painted, all the shutters. Looks like they matched exactly what was there, or what appeared to be.
Yes, and they hired a painting contractor, and he got it done, I think, within the weekend.
Yeah, that's good.
Quick turnaround.
Do we have any contact with the contractor?
The one that painted for them?
Mhm.
Yes, he's the same one that painted our building and our other buildings.
Oh, good.
That's for the one house that did get painted correctly,
Oh,
but a
Oh,
different
the-
owner
yes,
from the one that did
sorry
not
for
get
that
corrected.
confusion.
Yes,
The one who
Same contract,
corrected,
Yeah.
different properties.
yes.
yeah, the other one,
The one
looks
next
like they
door.
went through at least two different,
Yeah, the other
Thanks.
contractor, no, did not
Yeah.
contact.
Is she up to date on a tax lien stuff? Tax she paid on time?
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not aware of any issues.
Okay.
well, this,
Not that we
this,
can-
this I believe will give you a good opportunity to reach out and develop a good communication with her and even find a way to answer, you know, the question that Madhu posed a while ago. Find out what's her intent with it, you know?
Together, they wanted to get a ground lease to a bigger commercial franchise group, but that's about all I know of why they're holding on to it.
Okay. Well, we do have it as an agenda item, so we can, after our work session, kind of decide and have further discussion of what action to instruct staff. Our next item here is our meals tax and transit occupancy tax discussion. So, Chris, I'll let you lead the way there, what you found and what other localities are doing.
Okay, so what I did is I passed out this Excel sheet just to make it easy versus the big ordinance that Martin developed that we'll be talking about here at the regular meeting. But essentially where we were is if someone didn't pay their meals tax, they basically got a penalty of 1% per annum. So they weren't paying anything if they were a day late or 2 years late. So there's no reason or encouragement for them to pay sooner rather than later. And now, after speaking with Martin and getting everything established, you can see under proposed penalty, there would be, if they don't file their application stating how much they made and how much should be paid to the town, it'd be a 10% late filing fee. And then if they didn't pay on time, it would be a late 5% late payment as well. And then it would incur at the same rate as the majority of our other items at 8% per year.
And just for clarification, this is monies that they've already collected at the cash register and we're holding on to for almost 45 days-ish, could be up to, and, or to submit the form along with a check for the amount of monies they've already collected.
Without
And-
naming, no names, do we have, is that an issue in the town? Much of an issue?
We do have a
Concerns.
couple
Okay. Okay.
concerns that are reoccurring and often.
Yeah.
And
And as
I
you-
think this is part of the reason, because if they know, they have to pay by the 20th. So, for example, December 20th, they'll pay November meals tax.
Mhm.
So this is money they collected for the town and it should be coming to the town, and they'll hold on to it
Okay.
longer than necessary. And at 1% per annum, that's not a penalty. That's not
Yeah, I think-
advantageous for them to.
Just, we've never like really caught up on it. I don't remember it actually being maybe issues in the past, and maybe that wasn't the intent, but as you can see, as more are late, then there needs to be something that's, a consideration there.
So question here, what is considered late?
After the due date. So for example, November's books that they ended on the 30th, they needed to reconcile and then bring in before the 20th,
Correct.
the sheet showing what their receipts were for November's books and how much money they collected for the town of that 4 cents on the dollar for prepared food. So the 20th,
They write us a check
after the
or something,
20th,
or-
Correct,
after the 20th, it's late. So it's due by the 20th.
yes.
The
And then
21st is late.
Correct. If they were to pay it on the 21st or after, if they were to pay it between the 21st and January 19th, it would be now the 15%. If they didn't file anything and didn't pay, it'd be a 15% penalty for the two items. And then if they were to continue to wait, then it starts accruing at 8% per year. So basically you just do 8% divided by 12, and that's how you calculate per month. So right now what happens is if they owed $1,000 and they didn't pay, it's 1% per annum. So for them, $10, and that's if they pay the 21st or the following year.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Roberto, the due dates are pretty standard for every locality in the Commonwealth. Is that correct?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, so it's your books of the month prior, and then you have up to the 20th of the following month to pay the receipts that you collected.
Well, just one more. I'm just trying to understand. So between the 15% and the 8% per annum, is there the proposed penalty plus the proposed interest?
So how it works is if they pay between, it has to be late at least 1 month for interest to start accruing.
Oh, okay.
So what happens is the interest, if they pay on the 21st, interest isn't a factor.
Okay.
It's not until they pay later is when the interest starts accruing. So that, really what this does is this also gives the town more teeth so that when we're going after some of these people that haven't paid, I know in the history there's been certain individuals that didn't pay for months or years or whatever, and then trying to go after them, it's difficult when it's only 1% per annum, because then is that really a
worth
cost?
it? Yes,
Exactly.
yes,
Is it
yes.
worth it to incur legal bills and work through all this stuff to move forward? Where with this, right off the bat, you get 15% up front and then 8% per annum. If they're delinquent within 6 months, then it's a significant amount of money that, we just have a little bit more ability to move forward. And also in the ordinance that Martin wrote, it'll also state in there, and he'll be here to ask questions about that, but it's a Class 1 misdemeanor not to pay. So then Roberto can go to the magistrate and get a warrant out if they are not being forthcoming or being difficult to try and get response. And that normally has been very effective in the past for myself.
So how the other locality does? They have a same.
Same way. The town of Occoquan, the only thing that we did not have is we didn't have the 15 and the 5%. It was just 10% up front, and then we did 8%, essentially the same 8% per annum. So the only thing that's new is the filing and payment is just something new that Martin wanted to put in there.
Maybe we need to think about increasing the interest rate, after a certain period of time.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Chris.
And I'm pretty positive that Martin has established what we can, but I also asked him to research that, so then if you all have questions during the regular meeting of what can we put more, less, what's our range, can we do 20% for the penalty and then do 5% per annum? So I asked him to be prepared for what the state allows us, the range.
Two quick questions. There's 3 months in 2020 where the 20th falls on a Saturday. So do they have that till that Monday to pay?
So with this as well, it does give leniency to the treasurer for certain circumstances. So
Well, it's with 3 months in 2020, the 20th falls on a Saturday. So does that mean we give them, and this is important because we need to be consistent. So if the 20th is a Saturday or a Sunday, do we give them that to that Monday? In this case, in June, the 20th is a Saturday, so do we get in Monday, the 22nd of June?
No, no, what we do is that if they post-date it, so if the check is here and is collected by the clerk or the admin on Friday or Thursday, but I don't receive it till that Monday or the following Tuesday, I do not take it as a delinquent.
Okay, they post-dated
There's
them.
post-date. As long as it's
And-
post-dated, similar to the real estate.
That was, so, okay, good, that answers that. The other thing is, I certainly understand if we have the same businesses doing this and everything, but I think we need to walk the dog. And instead of looking at what the max is, do something, I think this is fair, I do. Do this for a year, because we can renew this next year. And maybe, instead of really sticking it to, well, we're not sticking it to them because we're finding them is what we're doing. And if we keep it kind of like you have now, because this is going to be some money, that I think hopefully will get their attention. If it doesn't, then next year, then, Martin, maybe he can say, we can increase it or whatever. But I just think we ought to walk the dog, give them that opportunity. They know they're doing it. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. They know they're doing it. And I just think if we give them, well, basically what you provided us here, if that's what the council agrees to, and then have that in our back pocket, that next year we can increase it substantially if we can. I don't know.
Correct.
Just my feeling.
Because you're right, 10% of a low number is only a few dollars, but 10% of something that's in the thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. So it
Amounts to a
depends
lot
on,
more.
yeah, so it depends on the actual business that's having the
Sure.
issue. So, but, yeah, it should be enough to get attention and get compliance.
I think that's what we do. We try to get their attention first. Say, hey, this is a business. This is what you're obligated to do. You haven't been doing it, but now this is what it's going to cost you this year. And then if it continues next year, we increase it, whatever we can do by law.
Yeah, we'll definitely
They
find
already
out.
collected, this
Yeah.
this should be.
You're right, Madhu. They've already collected it.
Yeah.
It's been sitting in
That's
their
what I'm
bank or
saying.
their
It's in-
register
Yeah.
or their account for
Or
at least,
owner investing somewhere else and making more money,
yep,
you know.
yeah.
Chris has something to say.
Oh,
The only other thing I was going to say with this also is that our intent is, if this passes today, that Roberto and I are either going to go to certain businesses where we know the owners are present and let them know this is the new rule, and then also provide letters, so we'll have that documentation, as well as try and have some face-to-face with them, so that it's not a shock. And all I was going to ask is that when we go to make this motion, that we just make it effective for January of
January,
2020.
yeah.
So this way, it gives us the rest of December to let everybody know, and then in January, we'll be effective with it.
I think that's more than fair.
It is
Yeah.
fair. On the same topic, because, we talk about delinquencies, where does the town fits if there is a delinquency that's going to lead to bankruptcy in collecting funds?
Are you talking about personal property?
I'm talking about
Meal tax.
Like on the meals tax?
So, well, meals tax is collected, so it should be 4% of what's collected, so it's billed to the person who's paying for it. So
Okay.
we shouldn't bankrupt any restaurant.
So,
today.
no. I mean, if they do fall into bankruptcy,
Okay.
okay, and there's an amount that's owed to us, where does, I don't want to use the word totem pole, but where does the town fall in the order of
Taxes go up
Well,
top.
exactly. So what we would have to do is we would have to, I'm drawing a blank. You have to file stating that this business owes us, whether it's 3 months, 2 months, X number of months worth of taxes. And normally, a bankruptcy attorney or somebody like that would then go down the hierarchy of who gets paid.
They
as it's the-
prioritize who gets paid.
But the
Exactly.
taxes are at the top.
Yeah.
They are considered,
And all that we would have to do is basically file with that attorney. So it should be known, if they were to go to file bankruptcy, they should let the town know that the business is no longer in operation because they're filing for bankruptcy. And at that point, that day, we'll file to either that attorney that let us know, or request their attorney so that we know who to file it with and do an official letter stating they're delinquent X number of months. So, I mean, it's, as soon as we find out, we send that out, and then we should be one of the top.
When you send the invoices, they should know who they owe the money when they file the bankruptcy, right? Court will send everybody, hey, this company filing the bankruptcy and contact us, they send those information to the town, correct? Or no?
It will normally, the company would get for businesses, you would get a attorney that specializes in bankruptcy, and yes, they would let the town know that they're going bankrupt, so the business will be closing, and then once we get that information, that's when we file with that same attorney, just stating that, thank you for letting us know, and oh, by the way, here's an official letter stating they hadn't paid their meals tax or real estate tax, whatever it may be, in a couple months.
Just to let everybody know too, that this isn't like hit an emergency button right now. I mean, literally, I mean, Roberta does a great job of collecting this, and it's usually just a handful or less than a handful of ones that are coming in 5, 10, 15 days late. It's not like it's going on for months and months. That has never happened. It's only just not paying by the 20th or always having a reason that they're running late. So, and I think we would find out more so if a bankruptcy was going to happen just because we're so small, of a food business not all of a sudden close their doors or something was going wild, we would know it probably.
One of the big reasons I don't have a problem with the proposal is because this money is already being collected.
Yeah.
It's not like,
Yep.
you have to wait on to see their profit margin. It is already being collected.
Yep.
So it's just a matter of administrative work that needs to happen on their behalf.
And as you can remember in the past, and even serving back in the day, with one particular business, I mean, we were very aggressive. It just came right out of the checking account because of
Right.
the situation. Yeah. Yep. So,
I think this is fair.
yeah, I think it's a good,
Good
thing.
homework, too.
yep.
Yep.
So we'll put this as well on our agenda item.
And I do just want to mention, the only other thing is that this is predominantly for the meals tax, but there is a little change for transient occupancy tax as well, just so that, because transient occupancy and meals tax both are a monthly collection, so that way the monthly collections would both have the 10% late filing and the 5% late payment.
Yep. Keep them consistent, yeah. Okay. Our next item is the Jefferson Street pedestrian project. So I'll let Chris start with that, and I think Miss Emily's probably got something to add, maybe, I'm not sure. But,
Sent out an email a little while ago when VDOT reached out to us and stated that there was a shortfall in the project of close to $57,000, and that we were going to have to cover that difference. But after I have taken a dive into the bid proposals and what VDOT has sent me and all the information provided, I have to do a little bit more digging. I think I'm going to have to reach out to Jerry, who was previously working on this project. They had a price estimate of about $453,000, and then their cost analysis came in at $510,000. So what I think Jerry may have done is he added about $50,000. He went from, instead of $453,000, he just said, let's guesstimate it's going to be $500,000. So I think the shortfall for the town, since we've already budgeted $500,000, is going to be a lot less than that $56,000. And the only other thing I want to verify is if it's a shortfall that we need to cover, or with it being with it involving federal funds, if it's going to be $56,000 less that's being reimbursed to us. So that's just, I wanted to bring that to you all and let you know that I've got to dig a little bit deeper to identify what this specifically means for the town and what it means for either how much money we need to find, or if this isn't something that we really need.
so how does that play, since it looks like we're privy to the actual bid is actually a lot less?
Significantly.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
that's
I
what-
would think that maybe this is all kind of a moot point. I mean, if the bid actually came in under what VDOT has, I say VDOT, but you know what I mean, has estimated,
Yeah.
so you would think then the matching would be off of the new amount that's being
Be
awarded.
less.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that the only other thing that I would like to identify as well is just if there's, although we receive the bids, if there's other funds or other responsibilities, whether it's utilities or something.
Or there's a percentage or something that goes on top of that?
If there's a, like processing administrative fee or something like that, that I'm just not privy to at this moment. So we did have this, but I just want to reach out to Jerry and get a little bit better grasp. As you all know, this is something that started in March of 2011, so this is the last phase we're just trying to wrap up. So,
And this new information, I think you just received, is it today? Or I mean,
yeah, late last week.
okay, all right,
After looking at it, that's where
okay,
I got this information today. So.
all right. Any thoughts or concerns about that?
So currently, what we speaking about, 453,000 was estimated, and
So-
recently we received $510,000. VDOT estimated that amount, correct?
So, correct. So they estimated that it was going to cost 453,000 and some change, and then when they did a cost analysis, it went up to 510,000. So
But-
now on their formula, I just need to reach out to the correct people and identify if this means that we're not going to get reimbursed as much, or if it means that we're going to have to cover that. But if it only involves the bid itself, we already have enough to pay for the bid and move forward right now. So I just got to
So the bid came in at what, 409, was it?
So, yes, so it's, we have more than enough to move forward with either of the bids. So with them saying there's a shortfall of 56,000, I need to verify that information, where it came from, and what that number specifically means for the town. For us to
Okay.
move forward.
Okay.
But, with this information now, it shouldn't be long before we.
So I think we have on our agenda also, if we can at least award the bid and move forward with that, because they've qualified, they've, just how this math is going to end up working out. Worst case, there's a 50-some thousand, but based on the bid amount, we're going to be way below.
Correct. And then I will state that, met with Councilmember Leak, and we've got several options. If it was $56,000 shortfall or anything less, there's several options that Roberta, myself, and Councilmember Leak, we went through several options.
You're referring to the Finance Committee.
We met with Councilmember Leak right before he went on vacation. We didn't send it.
I didn't
Oh.
attend that meeting.
But there are several options regardless of what we have. I just want to better understand it so we can move forward.
Okay, thoughts, comments on that? All right, with no objection, we'll go ahead and entertain the motion to adjourn our work session.
So make a motion that we adjourn the work session.
Second.
And second by Vice Mayor. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you all. See you at 7 o'clock. Thanks.